Hi everyone, I'm Krista Loos, the wellness dietitian here at KSB, and I'm here for this month's nutrition topic. And this month we'll be talking about seasonal produce, which is a great time to talk about it because we're right in the middle of our growing season. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the health benefits of seasonal produce. Why should we be choosing those seasonal produce options? So a big one, improved flavor. And this relates to, it's picked at the peak of its ripeness. So it's going to have the most flavor in those different fruits and vegetables. And that, can help promote us to be happy to eat those fresh fruits and vegetables just because the flavor is so much different than when it's out of season. We also have the nutrition profile of the fruit or vegetable that's in season. So some studies have shown that there's an increase in some of the vitamin and mineral contents based on the seasonality of the produce item. So, I think the one study I looked at was broccoli grown in season versus out of season. There was more nutritional value in that seasonal broccoli that was grown. So, some studies are supporting that. So that's also a great benefit of the seasonal produce. We also have increased biodiversity related to health benefits. So, we're going to have more availability of those fruits and vegetables, and all fruits and vegetables are high in different vitamins and minerals. So, that biodiversity just means that we have a larger variety of fruits and vegetables. And if we're eating more variety of fruits and vegetables, we're going to make sure that we're covering our bases with some of those vitamins and minerals because we have such a larger variety there. And then looking at some of the environmental and economical impacts of seasonal produce. So typically seasonal produce is more affordable, and that just relates to the supply and demand. So with seasonality, we have a bigger abundance of that fruit and vegetables. So typically the price is a little bit lower as opposed to buying out of season. And I'm sure we've noticed that at the grocery store, if we're buying fresh fruit in the wintertime, it's typically a bit more expensive than in the summer. Also, there's less energy input with seasonal produce, and not always, but mostly because there's appropriate sun exposure and temperature in its growing season as opposed to in the winter. There's less sun, the temperature is a little bit different for growing. And then again, we also have increased biodiversity for some of our environmental positive impacts. And that increased biodiversity, again, relates to an increased variety in fruits and vegetables, and that's really beneficial for soil health. So then taking a look at, this is a Illinois produce seasonality chart, and we'll attach a PDF in the bottom of the comments of this video so that you can take a closer look. So we can see here, the main growing season in Illinois is typically about May or June until about October. So for example, if we look at our bell peppers, so they start growing in about July and they can go until about November. We also have our carrots there, so those start, in about June and those go until September. We also have some of our lettuce, so that is a little bit earlier and starts growing in about April. Favors the spring a little bit more in some of those cooler temperatures. So we see that one's in season like April, May, and June. And then, that July when it's really hot, it kind of slows down a little bit, but then we can also get lettuce again, August, September, October when it's a little bit cooler again, moving into those fall months. And here's the second chunk of that produce calendar. So we have our melons up there at the top, starting in June to about September. If we look down at our strawberries, there's a smaller window, and we have about May or June for those strawberries. But then with our squash, so that butternut squash there, or the winter squash, those can start in May and go all the way till November. So there's a pretty big window for that growing season, and that's just based on the crop and what kind of temperature weather they favor. But a good window, is kind of that June to September. And then we have, some farmers market here in our area that's going to sell a lot of that seasonal produce. So here in Dixon, there's the Haymarket Farmers Market, and that's every Wednesday and Saturday, 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. Based on, I looked at their Dixon Farmers Market Facebook page. They have a variety of produce, some fresh eggs, honey. So that's a great place to go check out and try and get some of that seasonal produce. There's also the Farmers Market in Sterling, the Twin City one, and that's Saturday morning, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Again, they have a lot of fresh produce. They have some local meat, some fresh eggs, cheese, jams. And there's their website listed for more information there. I'd also encourage you to check in your area and see if they have a farmer's market locally around you. Most of the times, most cities do, so that would just be, you could do a Google search and see if there's any farmer's markets in your area. And again, if you have any questions or comments about this presentation, this is my contact information with my email and my phone number, so please feel free to reach out with any questions or comments. And then thank you. I just wanted to say thank you again to KSB Community Wellness for hosting these educational topics monthly. And then stay tuned for our next month's topic, which is a grocery store tour. And we're going to be talking about picking produce and good ways to pick produce. So thank you again.